Hey, um, what the fuck? StreamYards will no longer let me do my intro without upgrading. That sucks. Oh well. Fuck StreamYards. They blocked it now. That's some bullshit. So, what's up, everyone? I hope everyone's doing well. What's up, Sweet Misery, Pink, Sly Angel? Can you guys hear me okay? All right, let me get the dogs out of the room because they're a fucking pain in the ass. Out. Go. I love you, but you gotta get out because you're a pain in the butt. Ugh. All right. So, what's up, eavesdropper? So, I'm back. I do want to let you guys know I'm probably going to do some lives from my cell phone, but like it'll be quiet. I'll do it like in my garage. But they have some really cool things right now for if you go live from a cell phone. Like they make it like TikTok for like 99 cents. You buy a bunch of like gifts and you can do that from the cell phone. They really did make it like TikTok. And it's a lot of fun, but you can't do it from a computer. So, I'm probably going to do some lives from a cell phone and see how that goes. Maybe I'll set it up in my room. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So, there's a couple of things I want to say before I begin. I have been so fucking super busy the last week. So, tonight was my first night that I wasn't painting after working all day. So, but we're here and we're back, and I finished the room and it looks amazing. And they're really happy with it. So that's a good thing. And now I have like 3 weeks to make like 80 favors, stuff for a huge convention, plus working. So life is about to get a little crazy. Actually, it's been crazy. So if I sound tired, that's why. I literally am. Other thing I want to say is I apologize for Kaylee's name being spelled wrong. There was a band called Meridian back when I was in high school, and they had a song named Kaylee, and it was Kayleigh. Love the song. Said I was always going to name my kid Kaylee after that song. I don't know if anyone knows it or not. So that's why I spelled the name Kaylee, Kayleigh. So I apologize for if anyone sees this, says, oh my God, you spelled the name wrong. That's actually why I spelled it wrong. So my apologies. I'm trying to think of it. Hey, Joy. I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we begin. Oh, I know what it was. I know that my community posts have been a little intense lately because honestly, I'm sick and tired of the bullshit. I'm sick and tired of the assholes. And I don't give a fuck anymore. That's where I'm at. I just don't give a fuck. So let them do whatever they want. Let them say whatever they want. There's been a lot of comments. They automatically get deleted. I don't give a fuck. I'm not reading them. Soon as I see something negative, delete it because I don't care. And with that said, there was something else having to do with that. And now I forgot. I know that's a little intense. Oh, there was another part of that. Oh, I know what it was. Duh. So one of the things that I've noticed though, and I really analyzed this today when I was listening to different things and watching different people. The biggest problem is not the creators. It's the subs. Everybody wants to blame the creators for stuff. It's not the creators. People will say, oh, Clue's a racist. Well, guess what? 1,200, 13, 1,700 people in her chat really don't give a fuck. So who are you you can have an opinion, but who are you to try to change someone? Brittany has her following. No matter how many times you bully and harass her, you're not changing her following. Queen Bee, as much as she lies and pulls some shit, doesn't matter. 1,600 people in her live think she's the cat's meow. One thing I've heard a lot of in this community, and I heard a lot of it today. Well, she did this, but she did that, but, I'm not going to agree with everything she does, but I still like her. Another thing I've noticed, everything is all who someone likes. And I guess this holds true for my subs as well, so I'm not like excluding you guys, but I hear so much bullshit from friends of people that have done really bad, shady shit, but because people like them, or I'm sorry, not people like them, because all right, it's hard to do without names, so I'm just gonna fucking name them. It doesn't matter. Nunya. I was listening to Nunya, and Nunya was talking about shit that Jones and this one did and that one did, and shit with Ziggy and Six Up, and how it's different with Six Up than it is with, let's say, everyone going after Britney. And in reality, it's not different. You just happen to like Six Up and you don't like, let's say, Queen Bee. But it's not different. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if somebody's going after, a person 3 times a week, every day for a year, or every day for a year, or 3 times a week for a year. It doesn't matter. You're hyper focused on one person. No offense to Jonesin, but she's done some really fucking shady shit over the years for someone that's new on YouTube. And it's all look the other way. Her friends will look the other way because they like her. And both sides are doing the exact same shit, but one's doing it with more people listening, and the other one doesn't have as many people listening. But every single one of them are hypocrites. The only 2 people, I'm going to be honest, the only 2 people that I have witnessed as not really hypocrites, don't hate me for this, is Chasing and Deets. Those are the only 2 that I don't see as major hypocrites. Everybody else is a fucking hypocrite. Everybody else wants to blame this one or that one when they're no better. The shit that's going on between Nunya and Nonsense is hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. Bitches, you both fucking came here together. You both sat with the hive forever. Just stop. It's fucking embarrassing. But that's all you heard today was this one hypocritical, that, Nunya does this and Nonsense does this. And guys, you're both fucking fake. Every single person that's fighting now, I called out fucking 4 years ago. And everyone's like, oh, Laura's wrong. Laura, no, actually, I'm not. I happen to be fucking right. Because from Nonsense to fucking Queen Bee, all of them, I literally called every single one of them out years ago. And they all told me I was wrong. They all told me I was crazy. They all told me I didn't know what I was talking about. Blah, 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 blah. How do you like me now, bitch? Because I obviously didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. Because it does feel like every motherfucker that's fighting now is somebody I called out years ago. So I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. If they all could step outside themselves and hear themselves, they would hear that they rinse and repeat the exact same thing, talking about the exact same shit, and nothing ever changes. Nothing is ever going to change, ever. So stop trying to make other people change. Stop trying to think that you're the end all be all. And this goes for a lot of people. Stop thinking you're the end all be all and they're going to change for you. They ain't fucking changing for you. Britney's not changing. Queen Bee's not changing. And the subs like to be lied to. You look at the people that tell the truth, they have the smallest numbers. And that goes across the board. From chasing to fucking Moon. I don't care if Moon hates me or not. She's fucking funny sometimes. She had me laughing today. And I don't think she likes me at all. I've heard her talk so much shit about me. I don't care. I still think she's funny. And when she's on, I listen to her. I don't say anything, but I definitely listen. She's easy to listen to. She's one of those people. She doesn't get many people in her life, and she really does speak truth. And I've noticed that across the board. And I see it a lot with Chasing. Chasing's very well liked. But because she's not lying to her supporters and she doesn't sit there and lie, she rarely gets super chats. She rarely breaks 100 unless she's talking about drama, and she's well liked. So, but she's not a hypocrite and she doesn't lie to her subs. All these people with these big ass numbers lie to their subs constantly. And the subs are like, please give me more, lie to me more. It's fucking pathetic. But again, that falls on the subs. That's not on the creator. That's the sub. So maybe subs should get their fucking heads out of their ass and get their priorities straight. Go to people that fucking don't sit there and lie to you. And like someone said to me the other day, the people in this community now have drained this community dry. Between Clue, Queen Bee, ridiculous. I found PayPal pools for Queen Bee last night, just looking up her name. There's PayPal pools for her. Weird numbers. Let me tell you. One time she does $1 and one person donated 4,300. Like, you guys, it's very weird. But yeah, someone asked where's Queen Bee been? I don't know. I guess 2 out of her 3 birds died, which I find very odd. Not only why would 2 birds die, but more importantly, she was live the day her dogs died. But her birds, she's quiet for 2 days. Yeah, I'm not buying that. Sorry, not sorry. And then she had this big grift right before. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not buying the bird thing. I mean, her birds may have died because they're around too much pot. I don't know. Or maybe they got to hold a pot. But it's not normal for 2 out of 3 birds to die naturally. So, I don't know. But she's got a lot of animals that die, which to me is very weird. So, there's that. Speaking of death. Oh, and then you also have the lolcow community, which also bleeds people to dry. And I don't know, maybe I should go to TikTok. I'm just so done with the lowlifes here. Everybody, like outside of a few different creators, subs are just fucking losers. And they're like, hit me again, just lie to me again. Let me fucking kiss your ass while you sit here and grift off my ass. Like, I can't do it anymore. Like, these people are fucking losers. So, there's that. Moving on. Some of my patrons had asked me to go through the documents, probably because I like to do quick documents. If you're looking for I'm going to go through all of them, but if you're looking through documents where you want someone to read every single fucking page, this is not the place. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to say good stuff, but I read important stuff. I will definitely show everything on screen so you guys can read it, but I kind of skim through it and get to the good stuff. So, for lack of a better way to say that. So let me go ahead, unless somebody wants to come up here and read it all, that's fine too. We could do that. So let me go ahead and get the docs, which I just fucking closed out like a moron. Hold on. So hello to everyone that came in. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. We got a goal of 20 right now. Super chats. You can also cash app. And that's another thing. I just want to tell you guys something I heard, which I thought was brilliant. So I was listening to Becky from the lolcow community, and she was talking about like donations and stuff. And she was saying about helping people. And like, she was teamed up with Savage, like a whole bunch of shit. But one of the things that she said that I thought was a really, really good way to put it was people, hold on, I'm looking for something. In order to help someone else, you can't have an empty cup. And in order to help other people, you have to have an overflow. So you can give that overflow to help other people. And I thought of my business at that, like I'm going to do a giveaway. Well, I can't do a giveaway if nobody's buying anything or nobody's super chatting or nobody's cash app. Like I have to have that surplus and I have to have that overflow in order to have enough to do the giveaway. So that's why I set a goal of 20 that I can do a really nice giveaway. So I didn't want anyone to look at it as, oh, we're basically paying for our own or whatever shit people have said, because the reality is I need to be able to cover it. And the way Becky explained that, I thought was just a great way to explain it. So that's why I have a super chat goal of 20 in order to do a really kick-ass giveaway. Whoop. Shit, I brought the wrong thing over. Hold on. All right. So there we go. We got 20 super chat. And if you do send a Cash App or a PayPal, that gets credited towards it too. All right. Let me open this up. Thank you, Rock Jam. Rock Jam starting off the night. Sly Angel starting off the night right. But isn't it like a really good way to put it? I really did. I thought it was a brilliant way to put it. I was like, you know what? I knew listening to her at some point would give me something to go on. And I was like, what a fucking beautiful way to put it. I love it. And she's right. All right. Let's get into this. Oh. Thank you, Annie. I'll count Annie's towards it. Phoenix, is that my son Phoenix or a different Phoenix? I don't know if that's my son Phoenix yelling at me. You better fucking call my school. All right. There's like 350 documents, by the way, just so you guys know. Different Phoenix. Okay, just checking. Because he's calling me all the time. You better fucking call school. All right. The narrative was pretty boring. Yeah, this just goes through everything, what they found, pieces of evidence. A lot of it's redacted. Not much to see here. All right. So I'm going to read the first one just so people, we like kind of setting it out. On November 13th at around 1200 hours, thank you, Joy. At around 1200 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road in reference to possible homicide victims. Officer Nunez had arrived on scene and found a total of 4 deceased individuals. Officer Nunez informed other units he believed this to be a homicide. Hold on. I just got to get my glasses. Hold on. Um, all right, now I can see. All right. When I arrived, I entered the residence and went into the second floor. I observed a female wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom floor covered in blood. I observed deep lacerations, indicative of defensive wounds on the female's hands. This female was surrounded by blood on the floor. Thank you, Evil Queen. I observed a male laying on the bed. The male appeared to have suffered from stab wounds and a laceration to the neck. The male was covered in blood, and the bedding around him was soaked in blood. In a third floor bedroom, I observed 2 females laying in bed, which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female laying on the floor on the left half of the bed, as I looked at her from the doorway, was unrecognizable. Her face was completely disfigured and was stabbed several times. I was unable to comprehend exactly what I was looking at while trying to discern the nature of the injuries. The second female on the right half of the bed had multiple stab wounds. The comforter was soaked in blood, and a pool of blood was still present. I was assigned to hold security at the rear slider door. This was the alleged point of entry of the suspect. I observed very large footprints in the snow. I used a tape measure, and the shoe size measured approximately 13.5 to 14 inches. The footsteps, thank you, sweet misery. The footsteps went to and from the rear slider door. I observed the trail of footsteps head away from the slider, then turn right around a stump in the backyard and lead toward the front of the house. I observed a set of small handprints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appeared to be damaged and was laying on the ground. I located smudged finger marks on the glass slider door. There was a discarded black backpack in the backyard. I photographed these items and attached them to the case. I maintain rear security. The only person to enter from this point was Captain Lanier. Okay, so my questions here. Thank you, sweet misery. Oh, did you do 2? I thought I saw 5. All right, anyway. Thank you, and thank you, Evil Queen. So here's what I don't get. If he didn't know Kaylee, that's personal. You stabbed her around 20 times, and a lot of it was in the face. That's unrecognizable. Why? I now understand why they think or why they thought she was the target and why they thought that she got it the worst. You know, after reading this, and I didn't even read much of it, but after reading what I read, and especially the autopsy reports, I cannot even imagine being the parent of a child who was stabbed so many times that she was unrecognizable. Imagine having to identify her. Whoa, just whoa. So you might be right, silly rabbit. I'm not gonna, we don't know. All right. Now this is where a lot of these are exactly the same. So I'm not gonna read like the first half. Nunez advised over the air it appeared to be a homicide. Went to Officer Nunez. Thank you, VK, sir. I walked out of the bedroom towards and saw a clean steak knife on a beer pong table. Pointed out the knife to Nunez. Said he got the steak knife from the kitchen because he arrived and saw the female on the bedroom floor covered in blood and did not know if there was anyone present in the room. Said he checked the room with the knife for protection. Okay. First floor, I asked the females if there was, like, I don't even know why they left. Okay, H is Hunter. J, I forgot who, but it's funny that they left the first initial. Like, did you really try to redact it? A bed on their backs who appeared deceased. One female on the left side of the bed in relation to the bedroom had an extreme amount of lacerations to her face and upper body, which made her unrecognizable. The other female had multiple lacerations on her upper body and some blood on her face. I walked to the far side of the bed to determine if the female on the right was beyond help. I saw the female's leg was off the edge of the bed and it had lividity. Once I noticed the lividity in the female's leg, I backed out of the room. By the way, lividity is the blood congelating or whatever. I checked the rest of the third floor and saw it was clear. There was a poodle in the west bedroom on the bed, which was later taken to the Humane Society. After clearing the home, I briefly interviewed Jay. Jay said he was at his apartment and his girlfriend, E and A. Thank you, Tanya. I believe Maddie was the target because Kaylee wasn't supposed to be there. And that's why Silly Rabbit could be right that, you know, Kaylee wasn't supposed to be there. It was just supposed to be Maddie. So there might be something to that. You know, that's why she got stabbed in the face. Called all the residents, could not wake the female on the floor. Jay said he came over the home at approximately 11:55, said he saw the female on the floor in the bedroom and he did not see the male on the bed, who he identified as Ethan, before grabbing the knife. Jay said he entered the bedroom and checked the female's pulse and found none. Said he did not check Ethan and left the home. I thanked Jay for talking with me and told him he could stand with so-and-so who was with the other residents. I stood by the front of the door and started the crime scene log. I was relieved to see Brzezinski. Went to the officer. Okay. Was directed, flying on the bed. I observed a female laying supine on the floor next to a bed. According to Dylan Mortensen, this female was likely Kaylee Gonsalves. Dylan also lived at 112 King Road. I observed dried blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Kaylee was covered in so much blood, I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Kaylee was apparently deceased due to her pale skin color, rigid body tone, and apparent blood loss. On the bed in the same room, I observed Kaylee. I observed a male lying supine on the bed. The male was likely... See, this I find weird. On the bed in the same room that I observed Kaylee, I observed a male lying on the bed. According to Dylan, the male was likely Ethan Chapin. Why was Kaylee and Ethan on the same bed? You see what I'm saying? Like, what? How were Kaylee and Ethan in the same room on the same bed? I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs surrounding his body into the bed sheets and drops of blood on the wall near Ethan's head. As I backed out of this room, Hunter showed me a kitchen knife and said that he had it in his possession. I told Hunter to leave the knife and go back downstairs to the front entrance. Warner and I visually, visually cleared the residence for any suspects or any additional victims. On the third floor, Warner and I found 2 additional apparently deceased females, both lying supine in a bed. This bedroom was on the southwest corner of the third floor. According to these 2 females, were likely Xana Kernoodle and Madison Mogan. One female showed an apparent traumatic injury to her face due to the basic facial structure being unrecognizable. Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently deceased. After the residence was deemed safe, Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it and immediate area to include. I walked outside, began interviewing Dylan. Dylan told me at approximately 0400 hours, she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announced there was someone inside the house. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee run from the third floor down the stairs to the second floor, which obviously wasn't Kaylee. That was Brian that did that. But here's my other thing. Was she fucking high? If your roommate screams, somebody's in the house, you call fucking 911. And under no circumstances do you not call 911. She tried to warn them. And would it have changed? Maybe. Maybe it would have changed the outcome. Maybe the cops could have got there fast enough that Xana and Ethan would have been saved. It's just really sad. She locked herself in her bedroom, but continued to hear a commotion. Dylan said eventually she stopped hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you." Dylan said she did not recognize the male's voice. Dylan said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 feet tall, slim build, with a black ski mask leave the second floor patio area. This patio door was likely left open as it was found upon my arrival. I interviewed the additional roommate, Bethany Frank, who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. Bethany said she was on the second floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with Dylan and an unidentified person named L something. Ethan said at approximately 0200 hours on 11/13, Madison and Kaylee came home from a night out at the Corner Club located in Moscow, Idaho. Bethany said she also believed Madison and Kaylee went to the Grub Wandering Kitchen truck that was commonly located, which we know all that. Said she returned inside while Madison was still outside with Murphy. Bethany said she went to bed around 2:30 hours. Bethany said Madison came into her bedroom sometime after 2:30 hours to ask if she knew where Murphy was. Bethany said she told Madison no, Madison left. Bethany said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located on the first floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker and a flash. Bethany said she initially thought the sound was a prank. According to Bethany phone log she showed me, Bethany called Xana at 0421 hours, Ethan at 0422, Madison at 0422, Madison again at 0430, and then Kaylee at 0431. Bethany said she never received an answer on each phone call. Bethany said she went back to sleep and woke up around 11:56 hours when 911 was called. Initially, I told Kaylee was likely located on the second floor bedroom with Ethan. After comparing Dylan's initial statement with other investigations, officers' observations, it appeared to actually be Xana that was located on the floor of that bedroom, and Kaylee was the other female located on the third floor. Whoever was reassigned. This is nothing. Back doors open, footprints. Leading west. Then able to discern how old these prints were. Okay. All right, this is not much. This is just cops investigating. Turn outside. This is nothing. Response to scene where I met with did a brief walkthrough. They went up. All right. I then went up to the west bedroom on the second floor. I climbed the stairs to the third floor and located two deceased females. They were both in bed. Hey, good vibes. Thank you. I returned to the police department where I met with Sergeant Blaker and Corporal Payne, whom I had called earlier, requested they respond to the PD. At this time, Detective Mallory was at the police department. Okay. Oh. Kevin asked to take care of the death notification. This is just cop stuff. Okay, here we get into the sheath. I received a phone call advising me it was a quadruple homicide at 112. I arrived to the Moscow Police Department, put on my police uniform, and relieved Officer Warner at the above address, who is currently holding scene security. Following day, I learned of a sheath that was found inside the apartment. The sheath was tan in color, had a Marine Corps eagle, globe, and anchor symbol on the sheath. The words USMC were located under the EGA, and K-bar was above the EGA. I was tasked to follow up with businesses in town to see if that particular knife was sold there. I followed up with the Tri-State Outfitters, Big Five Sporting Goods, Moscow Building Supply, Spence Hardware, and Walmart. Each of above stores does not sell a K-Bar branded knife. While at Walmart, I was speaking with a staff member who was showing me the knives on display. She told me about 2 to 3 weeks ago, a white college-aged male asked for a black ski mask that would cover his face. Store was unable to provide much detail other than he was taller than she was and maybe had tan skin complexion. Store said she advised the male that they did not have any black ski masks, only camo. Store said the male then walked away. All right. Oh. I need my other glasses because these are giving me a headache. So bear with me. Oh, there they are. Hold on. That I left him babysitting. Hang on. Ugh. Oh, they're not there. No, you're not getting in. Forget it. No. Move. Move. Is it going to be a pain again? All right. All right. Here they're just going to the corner club. I responded. Cadaver dogs. Clearing the scene. Okay, this was the night before. All right, this is when they were looking for recordings. "11:14, dispatch advisor, we're forwarding a call to my cell phone. My phone briefly started to ring and then it suddenly stopped. For some reason, the call was forwarded to voicemail before I could answer. When the voicemail came through to my phone, I learned it was from Jay. The voicemail said, 'Hey, how's it going? My name is Jay. I just want to make a statement with you guys because I was close friends with Maddie Mogan. I was with her at the corner club that night and we wanted to go to John's Alley and we went to stop the grub truck. They got grub truck. Then a car picked them up and they left and went home.' Okay, so a car did pick them up. I just wanted to make a statement about, I don't know if anything is helpful, but I was just with them like for a bit, so if I can help, I would like to. Shortly after I got the voicemail, called dispatch, it was successfully transferred." So it says the same thing he said in the voicemail. He did not know who the other girl was that was with them that night. Described the girls getting into a silver sedan after they got food at the grub truck. I confirmed name, date of birth, phone number. He remained in Boise until after Thanksgiving break. So and so said he was willing to talk with a detective about his involvement with this case. S said he didn't have a roommate at his Queen Road apartment and that he lives alone. I recorded our conversation. The videos are uploaded. All right. I responded to the area at King Road. I photographed and looked in the 3 dumpsters in the area. So nothing of evidentiary value in the dumpsters. I photographed them, cleared the area. Photos isolated to one area with no trail to either area. I photographed the blood and notified on-scene investigators. All right. Oh. This is just the corner club stuff. Who were they talking to? What were they drinking? Jack. I can't believe I remember their names, but yeah, this interview with Jack, the truck. All right. All right. On November 14th, I went to 1112 King Road with Sergeant Blakey to observe the scene. I walked through the house and around the outside of the residence along with other investigators looking for possible evidence. ISP investigators were on scene, walking through for a second time, looking for additional evidence. I walked around the south side of 1112 King Road, up the hill, and along the fence line for Walanta. The backyard for Walanta and asked for his permission to look through the backyard, blah, blah, blah. Did not see anything of interest. The following 4 evidence items were collected by ISP inside the home on November 14, 2022, and turned over to me on scene. ISP took photos of the items and the places they were collected from. I booked the following items into MPD evidence. A copy of the evidence property receipt relating to these items is attached electronically. All right. A rolled $2 bill located on the desk in F2, bedroom number 1. So bedroom number 1, would that be Xana's room or Dylan's room? Rolled $2 bill, exhibit Blue powder, suspected drugs located on the desk in F2 bedroom 1. Exhibit 59, blood sample west wall, F2 living room. Exhibit 60, blood sample F3 bedroom 2, northwest wall. I spoke to the following people who live at Willanta. My conversation. Okay, so here's my question about this. So floor 2 was Xana's room. So if there was drugs in Xana's room, how did blood get in Dylan's room? That's my question. Because why was there blood? Oh, floor 3. My bad. Forget I said that. I'm an idiot. All right. Now, blue powder could be anything. I mean, literally, it could be anything. Oh. This is about the dog. Female friend, this is them just talking to witnesses. Who's a person of interest? The fraternity. Voicemails. Kaylee's friends, Madison friends. Let me tell you though, that was always like my worst fear when I was doing drugs is getting like dying and then leaving drugs out. That's why I always put them away right after I did them. Oh. All right, it's Corner Club. She said the roommates were a pretty tight group who didn't throw big parties. I asked if she knew about any drug use or sales from the house. She said she thought Xana and Ethan may have used cocaine, but nothing big and no one sold drugs. I asked her if she knew whether there were larger quantities of drugs kept at the residence. She said no. Oh. Empty black bag. All right. Nothing important. All right. So here they're just trying to figure out who was friends with who. Kaylee also hung out with the King girls, which were, doesn't say. I asked if Kaylee was involved in using illegal substances, and someone said just coke, probably. I asked if she saw Kaylee doing cocaine, and she said no, but she knew Xana was pretty into it. Deanne asked if Ethan was into cocaine, and she said she did not know, said she didn't know Ethan that well. Detective Dean asked if drugs were being sold from the house or if drugs were more used for parties. Said they were used but not sold. Detective Deanne asked if there were large quantities of drugs at the house or if the house was known to be a drug house. She said no. I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised if she was doing coke. I mean, she doesn't exactly come from a great mom. Oh. Alright, so this goes into boyfriend issues. Oh. They stated he knew it was a party house, so assumed someone was too intoxicated and forgot to close the door. Okay, so this one said it was a party house. On November 16th, I applied for and was granted the following warrants for the cell phone providers serving the area, North Palm Beach, Florida, for a tower dump, GPS coordinates, AT&T wireless detail, the following counts. For tower dump of all records, GPS coordinates, Verizon, T-Mobile, call. He said he had stated some of Kaylee's messages and phone calls. He's able to speak to A. All right, this just goes through the Twitch truck, the camera, the Twitch truck, Facebook post. But you can't say they didn't investigate it. All right, that's the grub truck. All right, I was asked to conduct follow-up on suspect Brian, maybe. I was told B was contacted on 11/17 by MPD and ISP. I was asked to watch video from 1200 hours on 11/12 to 1300 on 11/13 to see someone's movements during the homicide. 11/12/22, Brian left his dorm room at 12:05 hours. He was wearing a black long sleeve shirt, black sweats. 12:53 hours, Brian returned. At 15:03 hours, Brian left again wearing a black beanie, black gloves, and a white jacket. At 19:48 hours, he returned to the dorm without the beanie, gloves, and jacket, but then left again with a backpack. Brian was gone until 11:13. At 12:25, when he returned to the dorm, one reported the information on ISP. Oh, all right, this has to do with the Uber. Check your arrive, receive the following Apple laptops. Okay. Oh, Swazinski. Down the video, the individual USB, placed them back into the manila envelopes and came from the sealed. All right, this is grub truck. Cords. All right, now we're getting to the ME stuff. November 16th, approximately 0745 hours, Latah County Coroner Kathy Maybut and I attended 4 autopsies for Zana, Kernoodle, Ethan, Madison, and Kaylee at Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office. The 4 autopsies were all performed during the autopsies of Kaylee. They did all stuff. Okay. Oh. All right. Now I sound like I'm from Boston. As part of the autopsies, major crime prints were taken from each of the victims. Chapin's prints were taken on 11/16, released on 11/16. Actually, they all were. And then on 11/17. Prints. All right. At the conclusion of 4 autopsies, I don't know why they covered the doctor. Doctor met with Kathy Maybut, Gary Tolson, and myself and told us the following. Ethan Chapin's fatal injury was from a stab wound under his left clavicle, which severed his subclavian vein and his subclavian artery, and also his jugular vein was severed. Welcome, sinner. His jugular vein was severed. Ethan only had sharp force injuries. Zaina Kernoodle's fatal injuries were from one laceration in her right lung and 2 lacerations in her heart. Kernoodle had 50 plus stab wounds, mostly defensive. Xana only had sharp force injuries. Thank you, Sinner. Can someone please fucking tell me why she got stabbed 50 times? Why? She wasn't even your target. Why in the hell would she get stabbed 50 times? That's insane. Absolutely fucking insane. Madison Mogan's fatal injuries included a left lung laceration and a liver laceration. Madison only had sharp force injuries. Kaylee Consalva's fatal injuries included a left lung laceration, a liver laceration, 2 subdural bleeds, and a stab behind her clavicle, which cut her subclavian vein and artery. Kaylee had signs of sharp force injuries, asphyxial injuries, and blunt force injuries. Kaylee had 20 plus stab wounds. Doctors said the weapon that was used was not serrated. It was a single-edged, very sharp, and said a lot of force was used by the suspect. I will be uploading Dr. Sharp's final autopsy reports to the case file when they are completed. On November 16th at approximately 1955, met with special agent. Items belonging to Consalvas and Mogan were placed in dryer 1, and the items belonging to Kernoodle and Chapin were placed in dryer 2. And then it goes to what they had. So Kaylee was wearing 2 handbags, I guess. T-shirt, Corner Club T-shirt, pants, Joe Boxer, gray and black flannel, sock 1, white Adidas. Madison had 2 handbags, short sleeve shirt, pink pants, pink short sleeve shirt, pants, black Vandal Russell brand sweatpants. Xana had handbags, foot bags, sweatshirt, Under Armour gray, underwear, Calvin Klein beige. Ethan had handbags, socks, Puma brand. Transported the remainder of the evidence items to MPD and placed them later in the evidence fridge in the MPD evidence room. Okay. Matthew Director. Chain of custody. Told a Mexican drug dealer with the moniker was... Oh, this was the Reddit stuff. Okay. Agent. Sat through the thumb drive. I still don't know why he didn't kill the other 2. I mean, maybe not Bethany because she was pretty quiet, but I don't know. The whole shit with Dylan is just fucking weird. Question granted a warrant for eBay for the sale of the following. K-Bar full-size leather sheets. November 26th, I logged into the eBay law enforcement e-request. Ooh, eBay has a law enforcement e-request system. I received an email from eBay providing me internal case number. Examining the files, eBay showed no purchases for the ASIN 4938 knife. What did he just purchase history? Count information of the above name eBay user ID, subscriber information to include. Okay. eBay sucks. I've been waiting for fucking an order for 2 weeks. Oh. What? Nothing there. Oh, first secretary received a warrant. I saw how the house was set up. I don't think he saw Bethany, but I believe he saw Dylan. But like my question is too, like, what did he say to Xana? I'm gonna help you. Don't worry, I'm gonna help you, and then stabbed her 50 fucking times? Or did he say that to be an asshole after the fact? You know what I mean? All right, this is just getting into. Dylan said she believed the suspect was white, but did not remember eyebrow color or what his eyes looked like. Dylan said when she saw the suspect, he saw her and just left. Dylan said she believed he was holding something near her stomach or belt line. Dylan used both hands to point straight out from her abdomen. Dylan then moved her hands apart and back together to stimulate a budge. Dylan said this area was black in color and she thought now maybe it was a gun. She said the unknown object had an arrow shape. Dylan seemed really unsure and said she was tired during the event. Dylan was asked how long she believed it was from the time Kaylee said someone is here to when she saw the suspect. Dylan said she thought it was about 10 or 20 minutes. Dylan went on to say that she was in and out of it and she did not fully remember the incident. Okay, I'm convinced Dylan was high as a kite. That would explain a lot of her actions if she was fucked up. And I don't mean drunk. I mean if she was high on like cocaine. That would make her paranoid and thinking she's delusional and seeing things. Dylan was asked where the suspect was at the residence when Dylan saw him. Dylan said the suspect was between her bedroom door and the kitchen. Dylan said she remembered watching the suspect go out the kitchen door and leave. Dylan said at this time she closed her door and locked it as fast as she could. Dylan said the suspect did not walk towards her or say anything. Dylan said once suspect left, she immediately called Bethany. Dylan informed her she heard a sound that sounded like a firework. Dylan then said she told Bethany she called everyone and they're not answering. Dylan said she was in and out of it and believed everyone was just asleep. Dylan said she went to Bethany's room, locked the door, and went to bed. Dylan said she woke up at around 11 or 1200 hours and called her roommates and no one answered. Dylan said she called B. B came to the residence, went upstairs, and told Dylan they needed to call law enforcement immediately. Dylan was asked if there was anything else she wanted to share. Dylan said the noise. B described the noise as a loud boom, but Dylan did not hear it. Dylan was asked if any of her roommates shared any weird experiences in the last couple of weeks or calls or texts. Dylan said, no, it's been normal. Nothing weird at all. Nothing really weird happens here. Was anyone having a sexual relationship? Oh, Dylan was asked if anyone was having sexual relations with anyone that shouldn't be. She said no. All right, so that's the same story we heard already. No, I'm not judging them. I'm still sketchy over. I'm not sketchy like she's involved. Sketchy like I telling you I think she was high as fuck. Uh, Interview 2. Hunter said around 1200 on 11/13, Dylan called Hunter's girlfriend. All right, not Ethan. Someone's not right in the house. She also told she heard a man in her house that night prior. Dylan asked E and Hunter to come over to make sure everything was okay before she locked herself in Bethany's bedroom. They entered the code, said he went to the stairs, immediately went into Xana's room. Hunter said this was the only room he went into. Hunter said when he approached the door, it was only partially open. Hunter said when he opened it, he saw Xana and Ethan. Hunter said he initially did not realize all the blood was dried blood in the room. He said he thought at first they had been drunk and left a mess. Hunter said when he stood there for a moment and began to realize what he was seeing, he then started crying, uncontrollably crying. Oh, he said someone and Dylan were uncontrollably crying. Hunter said he told him to get out of the house and call law enforcement. Hunter said he went to the kitchen, grabbed a knife from the drawer, said he then went into the room and checked the closet to make sure there was not anyone else in the room. That's actually kind of smart, really. He said he checked for a pulse on both Xana and Ethan. I can't believe he touched them. He said both of the bodies had rigor mortis and were cold with no breath or pulse. Hunter said he believed the two had been deceased for a while. Hunter said he believed he left the knife on a folding table in the living room. Hunter said E and J and L started to enter the house and come up the stairs. Hunter told him to get out of the residence. Hunter said this was about the time MPD arrived on scene. Hunter said the officer told him to stay where he was at. Hunter said he did not know if anyone else was upstairs as he had not gone anywhere else in the house. Hunter said he had trouble comprehending what he was seeing. Talked about a party the night before where they were last seen at the residence. All that we know. Bye, Sinner. Thank you so much. Now, speaking of that, Grant, let me tell you guys something. When I heard Bethany's speech today, I cannot even imagine that kind of fear. And I say that because when I was in Vegas, when I lived in Vegas, I had a stalker. Now, it didn't help that I was on drugs, but I had a stalker. I was scared to death. It took me so long to ever be able to be alone in a house. And I don't mean like 5 years. I'm talking like 20 years. It literally took me to be okay to be alone in the house. I couldn't do it for the longest time. I think what got me over the fear was having kids. I mean, it was that long that I was finally able to be alone. And I always had a kid with me. So I always had like a buddy. But to this day, if like Dayton's out or something, or, Dayton's away, I still get freaked out at night. I do. And it's been 30 years, but I still get a little freaked out. And, I'll always keep my shades closed because someone's always watching me. That kind of shit. And I didn't see anyone dead. So I can't imagine the trauma that they live with every day and the fear that they live with every day. I could not even imagine because I know what I've gone through and I didn't see anyone die. it's that fear that you just cannot get over. So, I mean, they're young, and I really feel bad for them. 'Cause I feel like what they have is, like, tenfold what I had, you know what I mean? And mine was bad, it still is, and they have it 100 times worse, so I really hope that they get therapy for it, I really do. And I don't even know if therapy can help, I don't know what'll help. But originally, I didn't even think of that until she said it today. When she said it today in her speech, I was like, "Oh my god, this reminds me of Vegas." Like, in my parents' room and scared to be alone, and I wouldn't stay alone, and everyone used to tell me nothing's gonna happen. I'm like, "You don't know that." I mean, really freaked out. I know, but now I do, but I still get that, like, being alone, like, we have an alarm. I live in such a fucking safe neighborhood, like, nothing ever happens. I have 2 alarms, 2 ring bells, just in case something happens, and it's sad to say, but, 30 years later, it's actually, like, 35 years. 35 years later, I still get that weird feeling being alone. So, like I said, I couldn't even imagine on their scale. Um, alright, 2 warrants for Snap-on. Alright, this goes back to the sheath. See, Joy, you know what I'm talking about. Ink. Alright, November 21st, I have a warrant for Snapchat. Downloaded into computer. Shoot an email requesting the file's call detail to do a data dump. Shoot an email from AT&T. Receive email for T-Mobile. All right, I want to interview Dylan, Bethany, Hunter. No, I don't know. Cellbrite info. Hey, thanks to Karen Reed. Now we know what Cellbrite is. See, that's what I'm saying, Joy. Assist the FBI removing the center stacks from Ethan Chapin's Ford Explorer and Morgan Chevy Cruze. Once center stacks were removed, I booked them into the Moscow PD as evidence. I photographed serial numbers, photographs attached, applied for a warrant for the iCloud. If I declared. All right. We got through one subtitle. I go back. God damn, there's a lot of files. All right. Oh, is this the one I just did? Hold on. Family friend was an abusive relationship. This looks like the same. All right, 11:24. I took the car. Once I completed it, I drove to the house. Black glove. I don't know. I think that was the juice of it all. Ah. November 18th. Was granted geofence. All right. Do it down here. Extreme networks. Put until arrived. All right. This really isn't much. I'm actually going backwards. I just wanted to see if there were any pictures. I know that sounds horrible. All right. This gets into Kohlberger. August 24th, I received an email. All right. This is after Kohlberger was arrested. So all of this is after he was arrested already. They thought someone else was Kohlberger. Someone called in a tip. All right, this is them hunting for Kohlberger. Thank you, Sinner. You're in a generous mood. Talk of a think. I learned strange behavior. All right, yeah, this is. So I want to see like what they had before Kohlberger was busted. On April 3rd, I assisted and the prosecution team with reviewing the evidence in this case. The question was brought up if Amanda being vegan, a vitamin supplement bottle, which had been seen in several photographs, had been booked into evidence. And it stated it had not. The vitamin bottle is still located in the trunk of Kohlberger's white Elantra. See, that's something we didn't know. I broke the evidence seal on the driver's side door of the Elantra and opened the trunk with the release lever, also breaking the evidence seal in the trunk. I located the Amanda Dean vitamin bottle in the trunk and a plastic Ziploc baggie. I collected the bottle out of the trunk, counted the soft gel capsules in the bottle, 22 capsules out of 120, and I booked the bottle into MPD evidence. I placed new evidence seals on the driver's side door and trunk of the vehicle. Now, technically speaking, though, isn't that, can you do that? Like, can you just break the evidence? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that tampering evidence, really? Call an advice, schedule fingerprints. Okay. May 22nd, 2025. Monty reported daughter and one of her friends saw photos of them on Dateline from the latest special in reference to the Moscow murders. May 25th, I called someone, Dylan, spoke to her by phone. Dylan told me her daughter, well, not Dylan, watched a Dateline special, and they were talking about photos of WSU students on Brian Kohlberger's phone. He was able to identify several of the photos of her and one of her friends. As being photos reported to have been found on Kohlberger's phone. I asked Dee if I could talk to her, and she provided me a phone number. So-and-so told me the following. He was a student at WSU in the fall of 22 and was in a class where Kohlberger was the TR. So-and-so was in a class with her friend. A was interviewed by detectives on March 2nd. Get the fuck out of me. See, that's what happens when someone walks in. Told me she had never talked to Kohlberger during the class, but he did sit in close proximity to her on the rare occasion he would attend class. Hold on, what's up? What's up?
Nothing, so I'm home.
Okay. Hold on, I gotta mute you guys for a second. All right, hold on, guys. What?
I told her, I was like, yeah, she comes over and it's like she doesn't really say anything to my mom. And he was like, yeah, that's. He was so shocked he didn't have words to say. He was like, she comes back home after your house, and he was like, I got to see Dayton's mom. She's a YouTuber, like she's so cool and all this. And then I was like, I don't know if my mom even knows how old she is. Like they maybe said hi to each other.
Yeah,
She might know her name. And then he was like, yeah, she makes it come home and make it seem like she just talked to Superman.
Aww.
So
that's funny.
And then one time when she was arguing with her mom, she was like, well, at least Dayton's mom's cool. She's a YouTuber. And I was
about to be a TikToker.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Sorry about that, guys. It's one thing I bitch when people do, but he had just walked in. How did such a weak boy hurt Ford? I don't know. Probably maybe because they were high and tired. I don't know. How she knew the photos of her told me she watched a Dateline episode and she was able to tell the photos which she believed she had taken off of her Instagram account. So and so told me 2022. All right, nothing special. Oh. Civil rights investigation. I was told about memory drive. Photo. Received an email from Tinder. All right. For those of you that have read this, is there anything more to it? Like, is there anything that you guys are looking for? Because honestly, I think the rest is just boring. Oh. That's why I said we'll go through 350 documents within 2 hours. Phones. Based on information received. To the anonymous identifiers found to be of interest. All right. So go? What do you mean so go? No, I'm saying, is there anything that any part of this that you guys want? Because I think the rest, I was looking for the stuff on Brian. Like, I kind of want to see when they found him. Because Steve Gonzalez was like, yeah, we knew who you were the day of. I was like, no, you didn't. I don't know, Phoenix. I really don't. I've thought about that a lot. Was it an experiment? Was he just trying to see? Did he snap? I mean, think about it. You have people that fucking die over road rage, Someone will come back and kill you for road rage. So, if something ticked him off, maybe. But if I was a killer, and this is just my own personal feeling, if I was a killer, once you kill one, what the fuck is the difference if you kill 5 more? You're going to jail for life anyway. So you might as well live it up. As horrible as that sounds, it's true though. It's like once you take one out, well, fuck, what's the difference? I really think that was Chris Watts' theory. Well, I've already killed Shanann, so I might as well just off the kids while I'm at it. Still going to jail for life. Or you hear about stuff like that with, like, remember those shooters? Like every couple of years, there was another shooter just making random shootings. And they just went postal, like on a highway or whatever. Cause it's like once you won, it doesn't matter. You going to jail. School shooting, same thing. Not everyone's your target, but fuck, you might as well go out with a smile. You might as well take out 100 people if you're going to take out 5. So I think that may have been his theory. Do I think by the 4th one he kind of smartened up? No, I just think he ran out of time. Because if you time it and one of them did call the cops, or there was, he only had a certain amount of time before cops got there. So I think that's probably why he did not kill anyone else, because I think he just wanted to get the fuck out of there. Because he didn't know if someone called the police. He didn't know if he was gonna get caught immediately. He had no idea. But I do think he did it as a thrill kill that went astray. Yeah, but from what I can tell from the autopsy center, it sounds like he hit them in the chest first. So he probably immobilized them immediately, or with Ethan, maybe he automatically went for the jugular. But all of them had chest wounds. And if you get stabbed in the chest 3 times, like in the heart and in the lung, you're probably dead just about instantly. Xana didn't get hit in the heart, and she had the most defensive wounds. But if you're going for the chest, why did you need to stab her 20 times? That's a personal thing. So he either lost his mind, he was trying to make it look worse than he imagined, or he just, fuck it, I'm this far, I might as well, see what it's like to go all the way, or he possibly enjoyed it. As sick as this is going to sound, I've heard serial killers talk about stabbing, and they said that it's a very personal feeling, but it's almost surreal to stab someone with a knife over and over and over, and it's almost a feeling of euphoria when the knife goes in and out. So he could have been experiencing that and just kept going. And again, that's not my thoughts, but I heard that on, I don't remember which serial killer. I want to say Gacy for some reason, but I don't think it was. But they just said that it's a very euphoric feeling to pull the knife in and out of someone. So he may have had that feeling. Or he may have been a serial killer all along and just didn't act on it, and then finally just acted on it. Or he was so, I don't wanna say insecure, but he was worried that maybe they weren't dead, so he just kept stabbing them to know that they're gonna be dead. That's my other thought. Uh, Found a closet, removed a black plastic 3-drawer organizer, Kodak flash, GoPro camera. Later contacted memory card. Yeah, I don't know why they did it the way they did it. The only thing I could think of, and I said this originally, it's possible that the courts or the prosecution were afraid that he could get off if they didn't make him a plea deal. I mean, because factually speaking, no evidence pointed directly to Kohlberger. They had circumstantial evidence, they had the knife sheath, but overall, no DNA, no gun, no weapons, no knife was ever found, no clothes were ever found. There was no DNA in his car. And if you look at social media, I do think that it's possible that the prosecution was afraid that he could have got off. I mean, think about it. All it takes is one juror. So that may be why they wanted to get a plea deal immediately. Because they were afraid this is not rock solid at all. There was literally no direct link to him other than touch DNA on a knife sheath, which really, if you're on a jury and all the other evidence, all this blood, there was none of his DNA found in the room. There was none of his DNA found in the house. There was none of his DNA found, none of their DNA found in the car. Where's your evidence? Where's your links? That's why I think they gave him a plea deal. Majority of us, believe he's guilty of sin. But technically speaking, there is no direct evidence linking him. So I think they rushed to get a deal. I mean, they wanted to get a deal based on that. That's just my opinion. Like John Wayne Gacy had fucking bodies in his house. I mean, that's kind of direct. Same thing with, no, his DNA wasn't ever, his DNA was nowhere. There was no DNA found. I think they coerced him. Yeah, there was touch DNA on the knife sheath. But I'm saying with all that blood, stabbing, there was no blood of his in the house. There was nothing. So I think that they were worried all you need is one juror. Oh, absolutely, Cinnamon. Because they can lie. They could tell him that they have tons of evidence. They could tell him, hey, we have, tons of evidence against you. Yeah, but it was very light touch DNA. Didn't mean he bought the knife. Didn't mean the knife wasn't stolen. That's all you need is one juror. Just one juror. No, his dad's DNA was not on every victim. That's not true. Warrant was served. This is Tinder. Security boxes. Yeah, but I mean, as much as his, no, it was touch DNA. As much as his lawyer is there to, help him, she didn't want to see him back on the streets. She works for the state. She gets paid by the state. So she definitely convinced him to take a plea deal. All right, this is about the Uber. All right, December 1st. All right, this is about their personalities. No, I'm being serious. Touch DNA on sheet matched his dad's Q-tip. No, you guys have that wrong. You guys have that. It's not that it matched his dad's DNA. The touch DNA matched his bloodline. So if genetic wise, 23andMe. They couldn't find a match for Brian himself because he wasn't in the system. But what they found was the uh the bloodline of his father, that it came back that whoever that source was related to the father, the bloodline. But there was also DNA found that did not match Brian. People forget about that. Okay. Knife sheath, straight edge knife. The warrant was served by law enforcement. Obtain documents. People have placed orders from K-Bar. This goes back to the knife. Warrants based on the following. Officer House and I responded to Queen Road at approximately 1,000 hours. The area around the door had numerous spots of a dried fluid which appeared to be rust drops from a metal roof above the apartment's door. These drops are mainly on the wall next to the door frame, not the door frame itself. I observed it appeared to be a different fluid spot on the door, approximately 8 inches from the bottom of the door under the door knob. I also noticed the deadbolt plating was clean, polished, silver, and had no dirt on it. I walked away from the door in order to conduct an interview. This is why there was a second weapon. Kaylee has blunt force trauma to her face. No, she was stabbed in the face, according to Discovery. According to the autopsy, she was stabbed in the face. Apply for and grant a search warrant. Finds today was statistical match to the DNA found on the sheath. Yeah, the bloodline. That's where his father's DNA came into play. All right, so I'm going to cut this for now. I got a headache, but I'm going to cut this for now. We'll pick up the rest tomorrow. I want to try to find the stuff with Brian and the arrest. But let me check out this News Nation that she's talking about. The autopsy showed it. The autopsy said she was stabbed in the face. You said it was News Nation. Is it on Banfield? That's true, Cinnamon. He could have used his fists if he was wearing gloves. Uh, all right. I don't see it. Oh wait, here it is. Brian Colbert used second weapon in murders. Oh, Gonsalves's lawyer said it. Salvas was the only victim who suffered blunt force asphyxial injuries. I don't have a video, but I can show you this. Shannon Gray, attorney for Gonsalves, told Banfield on Wednesday that a second weapon was used by convicted killer Brian Kohlberger in the 2022 murder. 3 others were also murdered by Kohlberger. There was blunt force trauma to Kaylee's face. There was a second, some sort of weapon that was used against her face, as the investigators did not know what that was and couldn't figure it out. Gonsalves was the only victim who suffered blunt force and asphyxial injuries, in addition to sharp force wounds. Let's see. Oh, by the way, someone asked about jail. I think it was you, Sinner. He's spending his life in solitary. He won't be around other prisoners. He's going to spend his entire life 23 hours a day in a jail cell. I think I'd rather be dead. I could not even imagine sitting in a jail cell for 23 hours a day. Oh, hell no. Yeah, detectives said only one weapon was used. Can I get this? Hold on.
From these families, what have you heard?
Yeah, it's interesting what you say, Ashley, though, about being able to come out. I went in with Mo, our photographer, who you know, and that's the first thing I said to him. I'm like, ooh, my God, I'm glad that we get to walk out of this place. I would never want to have to stay in here. We'll talk about that in a second. But in terms of the sentencing, tomorrow it's going to start 9 a.m. local time here. Expected to take the full day.
Now, that was yesterday's. Oh, let's see. Oh. He's going to be segregated. People in prison don't like people who hurt women and children. Come on, 3/4 of the people in prison hurt women and children. Give me a break. Inmates called Brian Kohlberger weird and annoying. Uh, yeah, I'm not finding it. Post a Reddit survey. Colbert had injuries on his face and hands. This guy was honest. The mate's friend finds bodies. All right. Why was the plea deal made without unanimous support from families? Our decision was this was the best possible outcome. All things considered, defendant was ready to plead guilty, avoiding a jury trial. Now, what I will say, the 100 respect for Chapin family who did not go today. They moved on with their life a long time ago. More power to them. I don't know what I would do in this situation, but that takes fucking balls. I mean, good for them. Lead investigators said they realized that often in cases they don't get to know what the motive is beyond a crime. Tom said a motive is not legally required for murder, and the lack of one did not factor into decisions. Corbett and victims had no connection. So he's going to spend 23 hours a day in a bedroom. Just think about that. Think about for the next 60 years of your life, you're sitting in your fucking bedroom. You would lose your mind. That's crazy. I'm telling you, I'd rather be dead. Ah, here it is. Is this it? Now, it's not giving me the video. Shit, it keeps giving me this. It's not giving me the video. It is on YouTube? All right, hold on. All right. Field. There we go. All right, here it is. God, there's like 20 clips from her just tonight. All right, hang on. All right. Here we go.
For the Gonzalez family. He read several of the statements for that family in court today, including for grandmothers. Shannon, thanks for being on tonight, and please pass on our best to the Gonzalez family. I wanted to ask you about the meeting that they had with investigators that Steve Gonzalez said lasted 3 hours. You were present for that meeting. What details were they finally told about what happened inside that house after waiting for 2.5 years?
Well, we met with the investigators for about 3 hours on a Zoom call. We had a list of questions, a lot of questions that the family wanted to ask. They answered all of them. Some of them they had answers to, some of them they didn't. As far as the details of stuff, I'll let Steve and Christy talk about the details and what they want to release on their own timeline. But, some of the stuff that you've already talked about, which is, a second weapon, that aspect of it. Because there was blunt force trauma to Kaylee's face, there was some sort of weapon that was used against her face. And the investigators didn't know what that was and couldn't figure it out. So when they're referencing the second weapon aspect of it, it's that because of the blunt force trauma that was to her face and her mouth area. So
I was trying to get clarity on that, because when the reporters asked the police officers in the press conference, they said, we are only looking for a singular K-bar knife as this weapon. But you can ask the family about the other weapon. It seemed odd. Did they think that maybe something in the room was used, or did they believe he used something else and took it with him and disposed of it?
I don't think they know. I mean, they said they were, they tried a lot of times, a lot of things to try to match the wounds on her face, the blunt force trauma that was on her face or on her mouth. And they couldn't figure out what it was. So they don't know. And since they don't know, we don't know. But there was something that was used against Kaylee because our meeting was about Kaylee. We were, the officers and the family respect that they'll have their own conversations with the other families about, Xana and Ethan and Maddie. So if they want those conversations to happen. So ours was really about Kaylee. And there was something that was used and they don't know what it is. So
it's just so distressing to hear that she was stabbed over 30 times and that Xana was stabbed over 50 times. It's just unimaginable. It's worse than we all obviously thought. I mean it when I say it. Please pass on our best to Steve and Christy and their kids as they're going through utter hell tonight. Shannon, thank you for this.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now.
Okay, sorry, Banfield. She was stabbed 20, not 30, according to the autopsy. But there's Banfield, got to be dramatic. All right. That's all I got for you guys tonight. But we did really good on the goal. We got 13. So I'm going to take everyone's names for the last 2 days of Super Chats. And if we can get to 20, all those people go into a raffle. And one of them is going to win a giveaway. So I guess I should announce that next time that the people that donate are the ones that'll be in the raffle for a giveaway. I should probably donate that. I mean, I should probably let everyone know that. Because I've done the raffles the other way and I get people out of nowhere that win and I don't even know who the fuck they are. So I don't like that. So we changed things up a bit. And I've seen a lot of creators do it that way, where you have to pay. Not pay, but you have to, donate or be a member or something in order to get into the raffle, which to me is fair. So, all right, but I'm going to get off. I really do have a headache. I will see you beautiful people tomorrow. I don't babysit tomorrow, so I'm working on the candle site. And that's it. All right. But I'll be around. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. And thank you guys so much for the super chats And I'm looking forward to doing a giveaway. Fuck the haters. And may the 4 Idaho rest in peace. And I really do think they got justice. And he's an asshole. He deserves what he gets. All right. And thank you guys for the memberships. And welcome new members. And I will see you guys later. Patreons, I'll speak to you in a little while. I just want to get some ice cream for my headache. Peace.